So continuing on our journey through the marketing function, today we're going to look at market attributes. So we're talking about different market dimensions and market segments. So what is the main concept or the idea behind segmenting a market? Well, a business will segment its market so it can better direct its marketing strategies to specific groups of customers. So it's unlikely that a business has the entire market to sell to. Not everyone is going to want what you're selling. It's plain and simple. People have different interests, different wants, different needs, different likes, whatever you want to call it. So what a business should be doing is finding out who is most likely to buy their product, why they're going to buy it, and then target them. So all their marketing strategies should be based around this group of people, the ones who are most likely to buy the product they're selling. So when you have an orange, for example, and you peel it up, you have an entire whole orange, and then you might take a little piece. You might give a little piece away. It's a segment of the orange. So it's not the whole orange anymore. It's broken up into little segments. So we know this little pieces. It's the same with businesses. They don't target the entire market. They subdivide them into groups, and they subdivide them into groups based on characteristics. So age being similar, gender being similar, income being similar. So one or more similar characteristics. And they do this usually to geographic means, demographic, psychographic, or behavioral traits that people share in common. So going into a little bit more detail about how the market is actually segmented. So how do they actually class the target market based on the characteristics? So the first main one is what we call the demographic. So we're talking about their age, their gender, their occupation, education, religion, family size, ethnicity. And then next one's geographic. So urban, suburban, rural, regional, climate, landform. So obviously if you consider if you produce snow gear, you're not going to be selling it to people living in an urban city, or you know what I mean. It's more a regional, rural area. So psychographic. So this is their lifestyles, socioeconomic group, their actual personal motives, their personality, their opinions, their interests. So basically who they are, and then their behavioral. So we're not talking about their actual behavior. We're talking about their buying behavior. So they're regular users, first-time users, brand. They're loyal to the brand. What are they actually looking for? Benefit sought. So are they only buying it because it's on sale? And the usage rate. So how many times are they repeating to buy the same product? Or how quick are they going through each brand or each product until they get the next one? So once the market has been subdivided or segmented, so the business selects one of these segments, and that becomes their target market. So why do they pick these? So these are the consumers the company wants to sell its products to. So why they want to sell to them purely is because they will be considered the ones most likely to buy it. So all their marketing efforts and all their advertising, anything they can do to get that customer to buy it, should be directed towards that group of people, so that target market. So the benefits of actually breaking up segmenting the market, then choosing a target market from that is, your marketing resources are used more efficiently. Campaigns being more cost effective and time efficient. So you're not wasting time reaching people who aren't going to buy your products. You know who's going to buy it. It's your advertising and your promotions and your price and your place and where they can get it should be based around them. So if you're doing something outside of that towards other people, maybe one out of 10 people who sees your ad might buy it. But if you actually advertise or you market to someone who's likely to buy it, well, the idea is that they should buy it. The promotion material that is more relevant to the customer's needs and is more likely to be noticed. So like if you're a running company and you're selling running shoes and you're advertising in a running magazine, well, they're probably going to be more likely to see. You're not going to advertise runners on the back of a car magazine, for example, or like a motorcycle enthusiast magazine. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't logically tie up. And there might be one person who'll see the advertisement and it might meet some in that who's a car enthusiast who says, oh, maybe you should start running. Very unlikely though. So you're going to use the promotional material in the right place and it'll be more relevant. You get a better understanding of the buyer's behavior of the target market. So because you're spending so much time focused on one group of people, you start to learn more about that group, basically. So you learn more about their habits, their wants, their needs, and this way, obviously, you can meet their wants and needs, and they'll buy, and they'll repeat the buy. So when you collect data, again, it's more effective data. It's more informative to you, and you can make comparisons between the target market over time. So also helps to refine the marketing strategies use to influence customer service. That kind of all ties in that once you have your group, you have your little target market, you're targeting to them specifically. Things are starting to work, things aren't working, but you're still hitting the same, you're still trying to get the same target. So when you learn what works for them, then you can refine your marketing strategies based on, almost like a trial and error. So whatever's working. So because the target's the same the whole time, you can change different actions, but the target doesn't change. So once the action matches the target, then you can, you really hit the mark. Obviously, the end result of these is what you're looking for is growth in sales, which obviously will lead to a growth in profit, hopefully anyway. So your main target market that you're actually aiming for is what we call your primary target market. So they're your first choice, they're your first target, so your primary target market. So this is the segment where most of your marketing resources are directed. So these people generate the most of your revenues. They're the ones that are most likely to buy your product and the ones that do buy your product. These are customers who can become loyal to a particular business and make repeat choices. So like the statistic is 80-20, that 20% of customers make up 80% of business revenue. That you have these loyal customers who really are your breadline, and they're the ones that bring you all your revenue. We shouldn't forget that there is a secondary target market. So it's usually a smaller and less important market segment to a business, but there is a chance that these people will buy outside of your target market, who will still buy your product based on their wants and needs. So you're not actually directly targeting them per se, but they might still be interested in what you're selling, and they might still be interested in the advertisement and the promotion, the price, and everything you're doing, and your marketing strategies, and it's still working on them. So you might not actually technically be targeting them, but they're kind of getting caught up in the crossfire, I guess. So it does provide an alternative in case there is a loss of customers from the primary target market. But again, it shouldn't really be your prime focus if you're a business. Your prime focus should always be on your primary market. So you may have heard this term before, niche market. So a company saying, "Oh, we found our niche." So basically, a niche it's a subsection, so a smaller number on an existing market. Usually within your existing target market. So it's like a segment within a segment, or a micro market. So you have your target market, and within that target market segment there's a little small segment who are really interested in your brand, really interested in what you're selling, possibly because larger companies just won't find the profits in selling to such a small number of people. So it's kind of like diehard fans of, like, ales or beers or wines, are like really you kind of think of exclusivity. So there's a small number of people who are really interested in things that the larger companies just don't provide because it's not really profitable for them to do so. So the needs of customers in these markets are often neglected by large businesses because it's rarely profitable to alter their marketing mix for very small groups. So some companies will base their market strategies purely on a niche market because they'll make up most of the revenue, because they're giving these customers something that no other company will. So this is why we call it the niche. So an example of a successful niche market, a successful niche brand or company is sendandpackage.com. So the need here is a no-hassle way to send care packages to inmates, so people living in prison. So this isn't really the priority of most people. It's not really a business that's directed at the entire market. Obviously, it's going to be a very small amount of people who will be sending packages to inmates. So obviously, you probably didn't know, but it's difficult to send care packages to inmates. Beyond the hassle of assembling a package and then set up in the post office or UPS, there are dozens of rules that govern what inmates are allowed to receive. So Chris Bennett's Send a Package, this is a one-stop shop for sending care packages to family and friends located in the New York State prison system. All of us Send a Package products have been pre-approved by the New York State Department of Corrections, eliminating the guesswork of determining which items inmates may receive. So this is a company that's set up basically on this purely very small need. If you think about the entire market, there's a handful of thousands of people who probably go to jail, and then obviously they need to get package sent to them. So it's not in the interest of a major company to provide this service, but it's a niche market, it's a niche need, and someone's found this way of dealing with it, and then they have a company that's been successful based on this very small, minute part of the market who have this different type of need.